Hey, it's Mike, your host at Craft Beer Storm. How are you doing today? It's Monday, so we're interviewing someone today. We have Suzanne Buchanan. She publishes the Thrive and Overcome newsletter, and I met her through Arate. It's a group wherein Andy Frisella and Ed Milet put it together. You know, we strive for excellence and we try to help each other. But she's a great woman, and hey, the health benefits of beer. She's into health. She has this rare disease, and she's gotten into it. But she started mentioning about beer and how good it is for you. I'm like, I gotta get you on the Craft Beer Storm podcast. So we had a great conversation. But here we go. And we are here with Suzanne Buchanan. She publishes the Thrive and Overcome newsletter. How you doing, Suzanne?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
No problem. We're members of Arate Accelerator, which is a group founded by Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. Just, striving for excellence in life, pretty much. And I met you through that. And you talked to me about your newsletter and about beer and how, hey, beer can be healthy for you. And I'm like, wow, I got to get Suzanne on the podcast. So we have you on. But also we talked about my marathon. I just did my New York City marathon and how that was challenging. And
how are you feeling?
Man, I'm okay. The next day I was a mess, but I had a minor cold before the marathon. Like it was just, I'm like, all right, I can do this. I'm okay. And then I started running the marathon, and then like by mile 20, my chest was like hurting. I'm like, this is not good at all. And then kind of ran out of steam, but I finished under 6 hours, which is good. But the next day I just had a full blown cold, and your leg muscles are gonna be sore. So they were sore for about a day and a half, but now I'm okay. But my cold is still here. So like, since you talk about health, I mean, what can you do for like a cold or even just recovering from running 26 miles? I know people don't run 26 miles every day, but...
That's massive. Yeah, because of my background in natural health and what I've had to learn about my own body, I've kind of become a specialist in immunity because that's one of the things I struggle with, among other things. But there are so many resources out there, some natural health resources as well as nutrition to help recover and also prepare for really intensive exercise like that. Mm-hmm. A marathon is kind of devastating to your immune system, especially in the 72 hours afterwards. Your immune system kind of takes a dip. Oh, yeah. And there are some products out there that are fantastic for that.
I wish I would have talked to you beforehand. We should have done this beforehand.
Exactly. I would have had you take
We'll do a reminder podcast next year. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'll see. But go ahead.
For recovery, get your protein. Get your branched chain amino acids, and glutamine is fantastic.
Like, how do you get that? Is there supplements or something?
Yeah, those are supplements found at your natural health store, a GNC vitamin shop. You can buy them online at Amazon, VitaCost. There's so many ways to get those. But amino acids and your branched chain amino acids, they're fantastic for recovery. Glutamine is an amino acid that's great for not just muscle soreness, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, but also it really ties over your immune system until you recover. And of course, don't forget to eat protein. So. Yeah,
because I was a mess the next day, and I'm getting better. I'm taking the Airborne, it has a bunch of vitamins in it, and it's like crazy vitamin C percentage.
Yeah.
And I was feeling better, and now I'm kind of dipping down again. Like I'm feeling not so well again. So I don't know. I should just get some amino acids, or what? What do you think?
There's a great product called Wellness Formula by Source Naturals. And that's a supplement. It's like Airborne on steroids for your immune system. Not just vitamin C, but tons of other components in it that are specific to immunity. So that is a fantastic product. That it's won all kinds of awards for being the best product, natural health product for immune system.
Oh.
And it's been around for decades.
Wellness format. What do you get? Do you get like any drugstore, or do you have to go to a health food store?
Any natural health store, Whole Foods, again, online, all those retailers. The company's called Source Naturals, and I don't get any endorsement or any, kickback from recommending it. It just is a beautiful product.
Yeah, we have to do like a disclosure, like FDA.
Yeah,
we're not FDA. We're not telling people that everything you're going to be cured. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if they monitor me. They probably do, right? So I don't know. They talk about beer. I don't know, but they haven't bothered me so far. But you never know. If we start telling people beer is good for them, which is what we're going to do in this podcast,
right?
FDA. We're not telling people to drink beer. We're just this is our opinion
of moderation.
Moderation, absolutely. So talking about beer, we talked about it. What got you interested in beer?
Well, I think, first of all, I like to know what's going into my body because I have health problems. I have a rare blood disease that affects my immune system, among other things. And so I have to be kind of conscientious and super aware of what goes in my body. And so, as well as the impact of anything I put in my body. And throughout my life, in between kind of my college degrees and working, I've always worked on and off in the natural health industry and retail. So I learned everything I could about the products. And I noticed, in the herb aisle, there was hop. And they sell it in supplement form.
Really?
And so, yeah. And I bet not many beer drinkers realize that. And so I thought that was so interesting and started researching some of the other nutrients in beer. And I think people would be surprised.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. This is hops as supplements.
Yeah, they sell it in capsules.
It is a plant, and I mean, people love it. When you put it in beer, there's got to be some kind of, something that it does to people that like they want more and more and more,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's not just hops. There's a little protein, there's soluble fiber, calcium, phosphorus, B vitamins, some antioxidants, silicon. Silicon's super important. I could go on and on. The list is long. And I don't know, did you know all of that is in beer?
No. I mean,
You're the beer guru guy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I didn't know about this hop stuff in capsules. That's awesome. I'm going to recommend it now. Who does Source Naturals make that too or no? Someone makes it. I don't know who it is. But
yeah, I don't know about that.
That's so interesting. But, beer has been around for a long, 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 long time, beer is, it's a beverage, but it also brings people together, right? And it kind of soothes out, like radical situations. When you're happy, beer is a good thing. It brings people together. When you're really sad, you go out for beer because it brings people together, and it's kind of a communal thing,
It definitely is. Funny enough, there's actually a compound in barley that boosts your mood. And it's called hordenine.
Really?
And it's actually known to boost your mood. It's good for mental health. And it affects your epinephrine and norepinephrine. So it literally is a mood lifter. So it's no joke that people feel a little bit lift. Not to mention, there's something in hops also, and it's called xanthosumol, and that also helps reduce stress and anxiety. And it works with there's an amino acid called GABA that helps your nervous system. And it's amazing. Like, there literally are those compounds in beer. So
I can't believe,
you feel great.
This is the first time I'm hearing it. This is ridiculous, right? Like, nobody else talks about this.
No, they don't. And they are in micro doses, but micro doses are better than no doses, in my opinion.
I suppose, yeah. And, beer is good, but in moderation, right? And like anything, like we were talking about, like if you eat a piece of cake,
Yeah,
it's okay. If you have a whole cake, it's just not good for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to think what you're saying about history is the whole world can't be wrong. The history of it goes back to ancient Sumerians, and then the Egyptians picked it up and they kind of perfected it. And beer was even used as a form of payment in Egypt.
Wow.
So, if you think about that kind of history, and then, as I was kind of researching it, the Greeks evidently tried it and said it was an acquired taste. They didn't really like it that much. And, but, at one point it was also considered a meal replacement. Right. That was like your first natural health meal replacement bar or whatever. It was a meal replacement drink.
Yeah. But like in Greece and like Italy, it's more wine, I guess, right? And those types of countries, because that's what they have, and beer, like in Italy, I mean, they have Peroni and there is beer there, but the majority of the liquid, I guess, consumed still is wine. Even in Portugal, I interviewed a brewer in Portugal, and they grow hops actually in northern Portugal. It's ridiculous. I didn't even know this. Just I learn something new every day, and because it's the perfect climate. But, the wine industry in Portugal is huge, and the craft beer industry is just starting, but it has a huge competition in this big wine industry, But talking about, moderation, I mean, a lot of people and a lot of doctors say, hey, like a glass of red wine a day is okay,
Mm-hmm, exactly. And same with beer. It's the same with beer. It was interesting, like, also the Europeans, of course, that have, I feel like the more north you go, the more you're entering beer country versus, the Mediterranean, which tends to veer towards wine. So
right, the northern, like the German, and then you get into the northern countries, especially Germany, like Ireland, England, right? Yeah. It's all beer.
Yeah,
it's all about beer.
Exactly.
So, it's so interesting.
Definitely. So,
and you say there's nutrients in small quantities of beer. I guess it would be from the hops and the barley. Do you know anything about yeast? I mean, does yeast produce anything that's probably beneficial? I don't know.
Not really. There wasn't a lot of literature on like the beneficial parts of that specific type of yeast that's used. But there was a ton on the B vitamins that are in it. There's B2, B3, B6, B9. We're talking things that help your red blood cells, that support your neurological functions, your enzymes for metabolism. B6 is great for immune function. So in small amounts, B9 is folic acid, and that helps with aging, wrinkles, your DNA. It prevents anxiety and depression. Like there's so many micronutrients in it. It's unbelievable. In addition, there's silicon, which silicone and silica is really a mineral, and in that you'll have antioxidants. It helps support bone growth, treats alopecia, it helps your skin elasticity, it brightens your eyes, it does so many things. So silica is actually super expensive to buy. And it's funny that, different types of beer have different strengths in it. So some are more nutrient dense than others.
Like what would be more nutrient dense? What do you think? Because if it has more hops and barley in it, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's like not just the amount in it, it's also the brewing process, malting, etc. So, and this will make sense to you when I tell you this list, is that really they said the IPAs have some of the highest amount of silica and some of the vitamins, followed by the pale ales. Mm-hmm. And then there's a category of like California beers that are, kind of independent and microbreweries. And followed by that, the lowest level is the light lagers.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting because almost by a flavor profile, like things taste more nutty and dense and complex, your IPAs. It's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in beer, and but this is what I've been saying. I mean, beer is good for you.
It is, but they're not all equal. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, some beers are lighter and they're kind of more like watery, and the stuff that they put in them. I mean, there's some mass-produced beers which are, I don't know, they have like the high fructose corn syrup. There's a big lawsuit against, from Miller Coors and the AB InBev because one of them put billboards up, and then during the Super Bowl they ran commercials. Well, our beer doesn't have high fructose corn syrup like our competition, and the competition got really upset and they launched a lawsuit. It's ridiculous. It's still in court.
Right. And I'm sorry, but who among us wants high fructose corn syrup? What is
it's horrible.
that? And, yeah.
It's a cheap sugar substitute, which is in everything pretty much, and it used to be in everything, and now everybody's wise to it, and then now they have all the stickers on like bread. It used to be in bread and everything, right? And it's still used too to a large extent, and people don't realize it, but it's just a cheap, alternative to sugar.
Not to mention the fact that beer converts to sugar anyway in your body. So having the high fructose corn syrup in addition to just the alcohol that converts to sugar, that's like a double whammy. So, in that regard, they're not looking out for people's health. And I think some corporate social responsibility is probably warranted. The beer that was super healthy, centuries ago had a different nutrient profile than what we have today in the mass production. So I would tend to go with the little guys if I were you, if you were looking for more nutrients.
Well, that's what I say. Go to your local brewer. That's what we push, all the local beers.
Plug, yes.
Go to your local brewery. At least you know what you're drinking, They'll show you the grains. They'll show you the hops. And usually a lot of them, get some fresh hops or grains that are, barley, and they use wheat. Like over here in Maine, they have Maine grains. They grow wheat here and barley. Like Maine used to be the largest, producer of barley and grain products in the Civil War. Like all the troops got the grain from there. Like I didn't even know this in Maine. Like who would have known?
And speaking of the Civil War, I mean, were you aware that the founding fathers brewed they had their own brews?
I think I heard of it. Yeah, I haven't explored it.
Yeah, Washington, he made a porter. Thomas Jefferson, he made ale. And Benjamin Franklin, he had this great, complex beer that had spruce in it.
Oh, wow.
Like, it had a pine spruce taste, and it's phenomenal. You can find those beers. They sell them. I think a brewery in Philadelphia makes them, and I lived in Philly, so I drank them frequently, but they were my favorite. So I just thought that was so fun.
There's a brewery around here that uses spruce. Outhouse Ales, giving him a shout out. He always puts a beer out with spruce in it, and he gets a bunch of it, so it's fresh. I'd rather drink his beer, but he's like right here. But that's fresh local beer. And there's a quote that Benjamin Franklin. They say he said this quote. I don't know if it's true or not, but beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. That's the quote.
I don't know, but I love it. It's cute.
I put it on the wall here at the brewery. Yeah, he was really man, I got to read a book about him because there's so much stuff he did. And
yes, definitely. Highly recommend. Like Diplomat, everything.
Wow.
He was all over.
Unbelievable, yeah. But yeah,
very cool.
Well, look, I'm glad I had you on. You have the Thrive and Overcome newsletter. You went through a lot of hardships yourself. You had that disease, but you overcame it, and now you're finding out what good things to put into your body, and beer is one of them. Not in excess, but there are nutrients in beer, and it's good to get your insight on that. And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can look me up on Instagram at Red Carrot, and that is Karat.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they can find me at Suzanne, Suzanne, at thriveandovercome.com.
Awesome. All right, Suzanne, what a great show. This stuff that I didn't even know about, right? And I've been brewing beer, I've been using this stuff, and there's just like things in hops and that barley that it just makes sense. Beer is good for you.
It does, and in the future, I think that you're going to find that people are going to start being intentional about the nutrition in beer, and I think you're going to see kind of a specialized line come out of many breweries that are going to be more health-oriented.
They're talking about it. I forgot about this. I think they're talking about, that label that you put on food.
Yes.
With the nutrients in it.
Yes.
They're gonna make breweries do that soon. That's what they were saying, and I'm like, oh my god, but that is interesting, right? So at least what's in it, And,
yeah. But I think more than that, like you're gonna have beers that have like lavender in it for this, and you're gonna have things that have, you're gonna have micronutrients in it that are intentional, that are geared towards specific health issues. Like, oh, this beer is great for mental clarity. This beer is great for anxiety. This beer is great for this. And they'll be hyper-focused, like you've had the proliferation of all the different strains of marijuana and what each one does.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's beer is a brew. It's brewed. And there are a whole bunch of different ingredients in it, and you're right. They're infusing everything in beer these days. I mean, if
exactly.
It's food, I throw everything in beer.
It's gonna go.
We do honey in beer, like a honey brown ale. It's delicious. So we use local honey. Guy has apiary. He has apiaries here, and he has bees, and it's fresh honey. And then we use maple syrup.
That's cool.
We use local maple syrup. We make maple wheat beer. But it's fresh maple stuff, and it's all good stuff. So
I can't remember if it's in the Czech Republic or one of the Eastern European countries where they have the different honeys in the different towns have different medicinal qualities.
That's interesting.
And so imagine that in the different medicinal quality honeys into, infused in the beer. Imagine what that's going to do for like the industry. So like things like that will start happening.
I got to stop there. I have to plan this trip. I have to see so many people. Like I always have these podcasts. Yeah, I'm going to come out. I'm buying like a one-way ticket, like west.
Perfect.
I'm going to stop everywhere. So if someone wants to sponsor me on that, hey, Michael at craftbeerstorm.com. Let's do it. I got to get some sponsors. Okay. So Suzanne, thank you very much for being on. I appreciate it. And we'll keep in touch.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Suzanne Buchanan. She publishes the Thrive and Overcome newsletter. Wow, a lot of stuff. She's been through a lot of stuff with her disease. She's done stuff around the world too. She's helped a lot of people in countries, and she's a good woman. And she says beer is good for you, but anything in moderation is good. And hey, FDA, we're not endorsing any products or saying that beer is a miracle drug or anything like that. So I don't know how to disclose it, but that's the gist of it. So you get it. But a beer a day is good, and but anything in excess is not good. They say the same thing about wine, right? Red wine. Have a glass of red wine a day. It shows that it's great for blood and the heart. But hey, so beer is good for you. That's if you like what we're doing, you like our podcast, hey, go on iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review. That's the only way we get up in rankings. And subscribe to our podcast. Our last month we had the most ever downloads, which is so cool. And this month we're trending up too. We're doing good. I think we're going to beat it. But the only way we do that is if you subscribe and you tell your friends. about us, and we're just trying to promote craft beer and promote local breweries and all the good stuff about it. And everybody in the industry of craft beer, they're all fantastic, great people. So that's what I have for you today. I wish you a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday with Beer Styles. Take care.